Spitsbergen, Norway. On this remote archipelago, not far from the Arctic Ocean, lies the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Known as the Doomsday Vault, this repository for the DNA of plants, animals, and humans can withstand nearly any cataclysm, including a flood, an earthquake, or a nuclear blast.
The Svalbard Seed Bank is a structure or a facility that's sunk into the permafrost. It's essentially an international effort to deposit as many seeds, particularly seeds of crop plant varieties, to help to preserve genetic diversity.
With the Doomsday Vault, are we creating our own modern-day Ark? One that instead of housing 2 of every living creature on Earth, will house the seeds of every kind of plant life.
The Svalbard Seed Vault has been designed with some sort of cataclysm in mind. The idea is that in the event of some catastrophic event, it would still stay cold and preserve seeds for thousands of years. It's sort of this last hope for genetic diversity.
The Svalbard is just one of several biological storehouses located around the world. England's Millennium Seed Bank is even larger, while the U.S. federal government has built a similar facility in Fort Collins, Colorado. Scientists say one reason for these repositories is that another large asteroid, similar to the one that is believed to have caused the Great Flood, will eventually strike Earth. It's just a matter of time.
You always have the risk, and of course we've seen it here on Earth, of having large asteroids or comets hit the planet and cause tremendous ecological damage. Right now, all our genetic eggs are in one basket. Whether it's a comet or asteroid hitting us, we are at jeopardy.
But if a great flood or some other global catastrophe were to occur today, are we prepared to survive it? And if there really are extraterrestrial beings watching over the Earth, are they likely to be the cause of such a cataclysm? Or will they simply be observers, sitting quietly by and letting nature take its course?
If extraterrestrial gods are there watching us and either aware of future catastrophes or are capable of making them themselves, then perhaps we need to be prepared for that. We live in a precarious point where at any time we could go through another catastrophe. And you have to ask yourself if the extraterrestrials themselves may not create that.
One of the explanations for why extraterrestrials might seek to destroy humankind is because they treat us as their property. They treat us as their offspring, and they're able to make decisions about humanity based on their needs. So perhaps their needs were satisfied and they decided they didn't want humankind around anymore, so it's just as easy to wipe them out as it is to continue to perpetuate their existence.
The evolution of humans on this planet has been completely and totally an experiment on the part of extraterrestrials. If survival is the bottom line, they are trying to get us over some kind of a finish line when we're still alive.
Our survival was ensured by extraterrestrials way back in the remote past because we are their direct offspring. We are their product. They, in fact, have a vested interest in our survival.
Are we the descendants of an extraterrestrial ancestor named Noah, who was sent to repopulate the Earth after the Great Flood? And if so, are there extraterrestrials watching over us, even to this day? Not to destroy us, but simply to see if we can prevail over the Earth's next great cataclysm? It is a question we may not have much time to think about, except to consider how much or how many will survive. Megiddo, Israel. Located 11 miles from Nazareth, this ancient city is mentioned more than a dozen times in the Bible, most prominently in the prophetic Book of Revelation. According to the religious text, it is outside this city on the so-called plains of Megiddo, where the forces of the Almighty God will wage a final battle against Satan and the forces of evil.
The book of Revelation is certainly one of the most complicated books in the Bible, and it belongs to a separate set of material that's called apocalyptic. It is a book that gives visions of the future to come.
There's a battle that will take place in a valley in Israel called Megiddo, or Har Megiddo. Thus, Armageddon, we get the term. Satan himself will gather the armies of the world to Megiddo to fight Jesus Christ.
Satan takes on a more physical appearance, uses various technologies to enslave more and more of mankind. Ultimately, he becomes a geopolitical force, basically, essentially a dictator of the entire world.
The Book of Revelation further describes that this battle will be fought in heaven and on earth. Angels will descend from the sky. Demons will spread out across the land to destroy with fiery swords. And the Almighty God will rain destruction down upon earth.
The Book of the Revelation is really a pretty terrifying document if we're to look at it and think that these things could happen literally. I mean, when you look at what's happening in the book, we have cataclysms on the earth, we have earthquakes, we have fire raining from the sky, we have angels doing battle in heaven. And then repeatedly we have Satan coming back.
But could it be that this biblical prophecy isn't a doomsday prediction of cataclysm and war, but it has another, even more profound interpretation?
The book of Revelation gives us some of the clearest depictions of what not a few moderns would call extraterrestrial activity. Think about it. We have supernatural beings flying through the cosmos, blowing trumpets, casting fire upon the earth. We have great conflict between light and darkness, good and evil. There's a cosmic dualism going on here that involves, in the end, the reassertion of divine authority over those wayward angels who had gone astray so long ago.
Extraterrestrial combat? Could the Bible's Book of Revelation really be referring to a galactic war? One waged over the ultimate fate of mankind. If so, who or what is Satan? Is he a demon, the devil, the personification of evil? Or was he, in fact, a benevolent extraterrestrial being? One who stole technology from alien beings in an effort to lead early man out of darkness and ignorance. If so, then why did Satan become a force for evil? Does he seek to punish mankind for siding with our Creator against him? Perhaps he is testing us, using alien technology to modify human behavior in ways we have yet to understand.
He's this idea of an adversary, this idea of a liar or a tester. combined with this concept of Lucifer, the fallen angel, combined with this leader of the Watchers, who also leads a rebellion. And I think that ultimately what we find is that Lucifer is a conflation, a character who is a composite of all of these different ideas and different characters.
It's important for us to remember that Satan is part of the class of angels called seraphim. The seraphim were sent to earth as benefactors of humankind, bringing wisdom. The church has created this evil monster out of Satan, perhaps even out of thin air, when in reality, Satan's entire mission was about bringing knowledge and wisdom to humanity, and in fact, caring about humanity, not seeking to destroy humankind.
In a sense, Satan's not such a bad guy. You cannot have the light without the dark. You can't have right without wrong. And we have to learn these things for ourselves. And ultimately, through choice, wrong and right, we grow and we become who we are. And ultimately, that is to be like our makers, to become gods ourselves.
On February 19th, 2015, NASA's Dawn spacecraft sent back to Earth images of mysterious bright lights reflecting off the surface of a dwarf planet called Ceres. While some scientists have suggested that the lights are the result of something natural, like an ice field or escaping gas, higher resolution images have failed to uncover the true cause of the reflections. 4 months later in June, the Dawn spacecraft captured even more incredible images. Images that reveal what looks like a 3-mile tall pyramid.
These are possibly technological structures. So this brings up the question, is it possible that these were built by extraterrestrials? Instead of looking at the creation myths from Sumer as mythology, maybe this is scientific data that we should be revisiting.
Might further exploration of Ceres reveal evidence that it once served as refuge for the survivors of an alien war? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and claim that according to the Sumerian texts, these warring extraterrestrial factions also took refuge on another planet, Earth. And they propose that stories found throughout the world of gods waging battle in the skies suggest that this otherworldly conflict continued once the survivors reached their new home planet.
All over the world, we're seeing evidence of these ancient wars that took place. They took place in Greece, they took place in Norse mythology, all throughout Mesoamerican symbolism. And consistently, what we're seeing is some sort of battle for control over the Earth.
When you look at many of these ancient tales, it would seem to be that the gods are warring amongst themselves over us.
This lends to an intriguing possibility that we are the descendants of the winners, and that there are certain groups that are pushing for us and really rallying because, in fact, we are their direct descendants. They created us through some sort of genetic engineering. And then there's other factions that want to wipe us off the face of the earth completely, and those wars may still be being fought right now.
Are humans the descendants of a race of alien beings whose home planet was destroyed thousands of years ago? Might the ancient stories of warring gods really be accounts of separate extraterrestrial factions that were fighting for control of the Earth and may still be fighting for it today?